how to have peace when you feel like you can't. This video is about just that, how you can attain the peace that you really need to move forward. Stop thinking about the what ifs. What the heck is all of this? It is an invasion of thoughts, of things that you, mistakes of words, of things that you said that you wish you could take back, but you can't because you want to go back to that specific situation to make it better, to change the outcome of the situation that you find yourself in. And I must be honest with you, I have not been the best. I have been dating online, and as much as I try to not have deep emotions and allow myself to feel the feels, I failed miserably, like every time. So I have to constantly keep renewing my mind and letting the Holy Spirit guide me, lead me, take me, and stop me whenever I need to be stopped, because sometimes we just need that. I met a guy who was really interested in me and immediately thought to consider me as a possible girlfriend, as a possible girl to date. And I thought it was lovely. I mean, any girl would love that. I loved it immediately. There was one issue, and this has never happened this way because I normally would not let this happen, and I don't even know why it happened. I think I'm just desperate. I'm not desperate, but this was a really special guy. I didn't have any intentions at all I had no intentions of actually like dating him or nothing like that. My intention was to talk to him about Jesus, and he ended up just talking me into trying to date him. Anyway, so that happened, and it was not even that long. And even, I mean, does this ever happen to anyone else? I get so into the feels so right away. Not good. But I really liked him. Like, after he said something about marry me, and he was obviously joking because we're not married. And so he is not a believer, he is not a Christian, but he's a wonderful guy. And we had a great chemistry, and he was so sweet. He was really late also. Just not good. I don't even know why I liked him after that. But that happened, and then I realized this would never work. In a million years, this would never work. Even if he came to faith, even if he met Jesus, it just would never be possible because I was trying too hard to make it happen. Or at least I thought I was in my head. I think in my head I was trying really hard to make it happen and make it be okay, but I just couldn't live with myself. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't pray. I just couldn't, because I was just so confused, and I felt so bad that I'm a Christian really trying to make this happen with a guy who is the total opposite of who I really want to date and marry one day. And so this last few days I have been, or since we actually met, since I actually started liking him, I've just been too much in my head and just regretting about things I've said, thinking about, you know, what if I had done this differently? What if I had said this in another way? I constantly was thinking about the what ifs and was constantly stuck there, and I would constantly, you know, just continue to waste my time, my energy, my emotions in thinking about all of this, and it was just so exhausting that I thought, what the heck am I going to do? And I have been trying to make myself, my spirit, my soul change and transition from all of those things, but I can't help it. I am a person that feels really deeply, and whenever I feel really deeply, I need to allow myself to process the emotions, but I also know that it's not healthy to stay there for too long. So when I noticed that it was taking more than a day, more than 2 days, more than 3 days, I'm like, okay, something's gotta give. Like, I have to do something. And then suddenly I saw a post, and I know that we have to pray in these moments, right? But these are the moments where I did not want to pray. I did not care for it because I'm thinking, I've sinned too much. I've considered this guy today, and it's not even that big of a deal. I mean, it is, but like, I'm not marrying the guy, so it was just the enemy was in my head too much, and I was letting him have it. Not, and I wanted to be free. So I came across a post from my friend Bethany, who I love, and she shared an activity from the book Start Late, Finish Soon by David Bach, or Bach, I don't know. It's David and then BAC as in Charlie, H as in hotel. And I read this exercise, which is something that you normally do in a zozo, like in a spiritual cleansing activity. And it's very, very simple, very easy. And I encourage you that you do this. Get over the guy, get over the situation, get over your pain, come into the transition and the fullness, the fullness and freedom that God has already paid for, that we have it. And so, okay, the activity was very, very simple. You have to just write down all the what ifs, or all the if only I had, all of these things. And excuse me, at the moment I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work, but let me try it because I need to just write it down. And I'm a writer, so I needed to write it down. I wrote it down. I cried while I was writing it, and it's just an idea that I had, and I think it's happened to some of you before. So I wrote everything down, and then the next thing to do is actually burn it. So I did. So I wrote everything down. I poured out my heart in a letter. I created a letter to him that he's obviously never going to read. And I also wrote all the what ifs, all those, if had I only done this, if I had only done that, all of these ideals, thoughts, everything that was in my head, I wrote it down, and then I burned them. And it just felt so good. It felt so good to cry it out one last time. And it felt so good to burn them. And just another thing that I did was that I released him from my head, from my mind, from my heart, and I forgave him. He didn't do so many things wrong, but whatever he did wrong, or whatever I think he did wrong, I voiced it out. I said it out loud, and I said his name, and I said, I forgive you, and I release you. And I imagined myself releasing him into the hands of God, so that way he could, move on. I'm sure he did, but so that way he could find his real mate, his joy again. And then also, I prayed that he would find a mate who would choose him, and a mate whom he would also choose. And so I did that. I cried, and then I went outside and I burned it. And then I came back and I'm like, Jesus, I'm giving you my heart and my soul again. And it was like, it didn't feel like a super spiritual thing to do, but it worked. I mean, I feel so much better. And of course, if I think of it, which I haven't, which is really good, if I think of it, I know I'll have really good memories. I'm gonna choose to keep the great memories, which are not gonna last all that long because I'm probably not gonna remember him again. But if I ever do remember him, I want to remember him as a great person who was just so sweet. And that's it. And just like a really good learning experience for me as a Christian. And just, it's such a great thing. It's such a blessing and curse at the same time that it happened. I wouldn't want to encourage anyone to try to date anyone who is not a believer. You know, if you're of a specific faith, if you're a Christian, you know, our purpose, marriage, is for the glory of God. And I just know that I want my children and my children's children to know the Lord Most High as I know Him. And I cannot put that on the line just because I like someone. I cannot put my future, my children's future on the line. I can't. This is like legacy. My choices create legacy, and I didn't want to deal with all of that. As great as this guy was or is, and as great as anyone else out there is, you know, I'm creating legacy with my choices, with the decisions I make. And so I made the decision to write it all down, cry about it one last time, and burn it. And it was really great. I hope this blesses you, strengthens you, and encourages you, because you know what, this life is not easy, and we need each other, and we need to share with each other. So if you are going through a tough moment, maybe not online dating, maybe the death of a loved one, maybe somebody betrayed you, somebody hurt you, I want to encourage you this exercise that Daniel introduces in his book, Start Late, Finish Soon. And it's great. I've never read the book, but I read that little bitty part of the exercise, and it was really good. So just write it down and then burn it, and release people out of, release people into the hands of God. Just imagine yourself releasing people. It doesn't look or feel like a spiritual experience or a spiritual release, but that sounds, I don't know, a spiritual letting go. But it is, and it is such a deep thing to do. And just allow your soul to return to God. Just, God, I take my soul. Just say that. God, take my soul. My soul is yours. I accept you, Jesus, as my Lord and Savior, so that our thoughts, our ways, everything that we do, and everything that we do really is around our husband, Jesus. God is our husband, and He's our beloved, and we should not awaken love until it's time. So I hope this blesses you again, and thank you so much for listening and being here. If this encouraged you, share, comment, like, subscribe, follow me on my socials. Ayamel Bracamontes is my name, and you can find me on the socials as well. So I hope this blesses you, and thank you so much for being here with me.